something else I played was No Rest for the Wicked. That
That
is
sounds familiar.
the creators of Ori and the Blind Forest,
Right.
making a Souls-like Diablo perspective
shown off
fantasy
like this
action
year.
game. The perspective is high up isometric, but in terms of sort of combat and making a build and weapons and such, and building up your character, it's Souls-like, but there's the death and bonfire style thing is complete. There's no corpse running or anything like that. So
Okay. A regular old action game in terms of like death and all that.
yes, but instead what you do now introduce is an Animal Crossing like town and building a homestead where you can put up furniture and build crafting materials and things like that. You're chopping down trees, pickaxing ore, and then refining them at your house. And
are there timers on anything?
there are. And
So, like,
there
okay,
are,
so
when you're
with-
refining some ingots to go upgrade your weapons, there's like a 7-minute timer on that. But if you go and make a major renovation, like getting an elevator that takes you from the bottom of the marketplace to the top of where you go level up your character,
right,
that takes 4 hours.
congrats, you're playing Warframe.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Congrats.
Huh.
Like many years on.
How about that?
You have finally put your fucking foot in something that I'm like, yeah, no, that's Warframe. That is literally the crafting experience of Warframe.
Now, there's
and V Rising also.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that game.
I remember I saw V Rising because it advertises this a lot. Warframe's multiplayer elements work in what way exactly?
They're co-op.
Okay. In this case, you are, I think, what is it's like there's kind of like there's a community chest that you can. I don't know if there's anything that directly connects to other players or not in this, but what you can do is create a character and then make multiple realms, and those are kind of like different saves, aka different, almost like servers,
Right.
And you can take that same character that's powered up and drop them into a new save, and then go and do other stuff in there.
Like Valheim or V Rising.
But it's odd because this is a single player experience.
But it's single player.
Yeah, and
Well, that's fucking weird.
That's what I'm saying, right? Timers and stuff like that usually are involved with multiplayer things or things that are maybe free to play or such, But this is a full priced regular game. But you still got to go make the thing and wait an hour for it to go, and in one case there's like and the major upgrades are going for 4 hours or so. So I'm like, I don't know why the timers are there when it's just single player stuff.
Calm the fuck down.
So that's probably, like, if anything, like one of the more annoying elements of it, just right off the bat, is like
the timers in Warframe exist so that you can pay fucking currency to make the timers go faster. Like that is
right,
that's why.
Right. And otherwise you can just be patient and I guess play
the
other thing,
reason is like so you chill the fuck out and don't blow through like a year's worth of development content in like a
seconds.
weekend.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, no, in this you're just going at your own pace, but like what is interesting is like those moments are when you have to Animal Crossing is like when you hit a wall of like difficulty with the enemies and such. I took I did a stream of it and got the first couple hours in, and it took a while to kind of just get used to like what combat was asking and like some of the way your build works, because you have all those stats you'd be familiar with from like a Souls game, but like every item you're picking up is randomized.
Okay.
And it's randomized. Everything in the chests is randomized.
Okay.
Everything people are dropping, and like it's randomized with a like you're within this low level range, so you're only going to get up to this
So
many
it's
possible
slant.
things. Yes, but you don't know what you're going to get at any point with what requirements for what. So it is really, and then also when you leave areas, when you like when you die and like respawn, everything that you killed is still dead. But if you leave an area for long enough, and I think the time of day changes, then it repopulates, and chests repopulate, and
Okay.
so it's this kind of odd thing because like you're progressing through it, and you have like these really hard areas, and you can spend all your consumables trying to kill something, and then if you don't kill it, then it's like, well, you're out of consumables now, and that's that.
Yeah, well, that's how it is. Yeah.
Right. But if you do kill it, then hey, well, it's gone, and then you can hit the next whatever checkpoint. As you kind of go back through the areas you've been to, when you eventually get to town, and you can see a whole lot of stuff to build out, and you can spend your time upgrading the town and or upgrading your character and stuff. When you go backwards to the areas you've already been to, everything is scaling with you. So you're only ever stomping things in that game when you're at like, I think the peak of the threshold before it drops the next tier of enemies on you, you know?
Oh, so before you upgrade your like, hollow investigation certification.
Or perhaps if you finish this mission, whatever the case is, right? But like, and then immediately everything in the world.
Yeah, you're only stomping
up.
Anything in Honkai or Genshin or fucking Zenless until you fucking decide to do your world upgrade,
and then it all fucking gets nuts again. So after that initial like first look at it, I went back in because I was just like, let me give this another shot and see what I missed and stuff. And sure enough, I did miss a lot. There was a whole lot of areas and secret things that you could kind of shuffle around in and climb towards and stuff. Because I hit a wall in progress, and I was like, I literally have no idea where to go. Something really weird and interesting about it is that it's gorgeous. It is beautiful. It is one of the best looking.
So I've been looking at it pretty much the whole time.
Yeah. It's incredible.
I gotta say, because you're talking about all the mechanical depth around the game's like internalized systems. But what about the juice?
It is so pretty, and whenever characters are in cutscenes that are all in game and like it's moving up to people doing shit and whatever up close, it's one of the best looking games I've ever seen because it looks like the way Arcane episodes play out, right? It feels as if the in-game engine is like you're in Arcane. It's gorgeous. When it looks so good up close that when you zoom the camera out to that isometric view, you feel like you're losing out on all this incredible detail that you otherwise would be getting. But
I'm looking at the zoom out, and the zoom out also looks incredible.
Yeah, no, you run past a fireplace, and then the sky and the shine of your blade in the dark as everything's lit perfectly. It's incredible. A lot of moments where, kind of like in Hades, when you walk up to a cliffside and the camera pans out to show you this beautiful vista. Lots of amazing vistas in this game. The thing, and this is from the Ori and the Blind Forest people, so of course it's going to visually stun you, right? That's what they're doing. The way this is made possible, and to some degree the trade-off, is that you cannot rotate the camera at any point.
No, that's totally normal.
You are locked into the angle of view, right?
That's super normal
for this type
genre.
of game. Yeah.
V Rising's actually super weird that you have full camera control.
Huh. Okay. Because that allows everything to look incredible at all times, but it also results in, and the game's in early access, like full ass early access. That allows for moments where progress is, in some cases, like locked behind weird angle dips where it's like there's a cliff and you have to go down a hill that's hidden from view.
That's for you.
And you're like, oh, I'm supposed to go there? Or you're supposed to push up against a wall and do a little shimmy sideways, but you couldn't tell that was a cliff that was meant to be shimmied on, you know? And things where like the beautiful camera is obscuring a path you're supposed to take mandatorily. That happens a bunch, and it's frustrating because you're like, I ran in circles in this area 5 times. What the fuck is the way forward? To which in some
It's this little dip over here.
it's this little dip, you know, and every time you run back past like some fucker that'll wreck your day in 2 or 3 swings, it you know, you're like, God damn it, like, that gets frustrating. Something about the game as well that is insane. I don't know how, if any other game, especially from this viewpoint, compares the horizontality of combat is extreme. Footsies are full screen with everything that you do and everything coming at you. Enemies regularly, like not even zoners, enemies that have like a hammer or a sword or a spear will, from the back
I see it.
of the
Yeah.
screen, come flying at you to do a regular stab, and you have to roll out of the way, and then you do.
No, these like want to close distance before they start their attack bullshit.
It's crazy. Like the amount of distance closing, and like when you dodge something, it's essentially you going from the middle of the screen to the end of the edge of the camera. It's so nuts, and that results in a lot of moments of like something that was nowhere near you aggroed off camera because you can't turn the camera to look in its direction, and then it stingered you from fucking down the street, you know, and you got rocked and dropped off this ledge, and good luck, too bad. The inability to rotate camera, but also having a Souls-like lock-on system creates difficulty because can I lock onto that? Are you in my sight? Well, you're in the enemy's sight, so you know you're gonna get constantly like you can't scan for archers because they're just above you off camera in an environment where you can't look around. You know, you're always gonna hear a sound of like maybe a sword getting pulled out to know that you aggroed somebody, but for the most part, you will know you're being zoned because you'll get hit with a bomb or an arrow, and observation skills couldn't really save you. So that's a bit odd.
I didn't even know this came out. Early access, right?
Early access, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
People were saying, I looked it up and I saw that people said like, oh, the first 10 hours or so is in this initial early access chapter. I went back in and did more than that, and there's still a lot of game going. So
you should try out V Rising, because V Rising has like a lot of overlap with this, but is completely finished.
Okay.
It's 1.0 now.
Yeah, I got a lot of emails to potentially check that out for sponsorship purposes, but I didn't really look into it. But I've heard about V Rising a good bit. In this case, I mean, this art style fucking immediately has me sitting up and paying attention. I don't know that anything is going to compare on that level, but
no, this looks immaculate,
unbelievable, and fairly quickly too. Like, you know, you get a couple weapons that I was like, oh, the weapon crafting and not crafting but customization in this game as well is also really cool.
Oh, the effect of, I'm watching footage of somebody like using looks like a staff to throw, or maybe a sword to throw like fireballs.
Yeah,
the enemy is on fire animation is incredible.
Yeah,
like specifically that is incredible.
There's so much of the, just every time you again go to your quote unquote bonfire, or you just like get lightning coming out, or all the effects, it's just full of miasma and glorious particles, and everything's just wonderfully lit, and it feels like a game where the concept artist got their dream faithfully adhered to, which I would say Ori games are also probably that. Yeah. Right. So when it comes to the other thing that kind of had me booting this back up and putting a lot more hours in after I streamed it was when it comes to weapon customization, you get everything you pick up. If it's, I guess, what do you call that? White items? Is that the term? Or gray items? Whatever. It's like base level, you know? Rarity,
white, yeah.
Common, rarity.
So does this is a pet peeve of mine, but does this use like the agreed upon rarity structure? because like some games try and fuck up the colors, and it's like the worst fucking thing ever.
And you go from basic common gray to blue is rare to blue is one level up from that, like somewhat rare. I forgot the terms. Purple is actually like rare, holy shit, and then best is gold.
Okay. White, green, blue, purple, gold. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the correct one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. There you go.
Like, there's been a couple of games that have like inverted blue or green, and it's so confusing.
Wasn't there? I feel like there's a game where like there was a yellow for common, and then it went from
that's awful.
White,
that's awful.
And it went from white to a goldish yellow, and then
Jesus
to blue, and then
Christ.
to purple, or so.
Somebody asked, "Where's red?" Red means unequipable.
Red.
That's
bad.
the level.
Red is
It
bad.
means bad
or broken or something. Anyway. Yeah, so in this case, you take your common item, and then whatever it is, you have 4 rune slots and 4 infusion slots, right? And what you basically get is materia slots on every weapon.
Okay.
But the first 4 are when you pull the weapon out, each face button does one of these special moves that uses your special meter, and it can be a weapon art essentially, right?
Okay.
So imagine you have like your
Can you describe the materia slots, what they look like slightly more?
Sure. So I mean it's just on the weapons like information screen, like you'll have a great sword, 2-handed, and then it'll be like Y button has this rune slotted in, which is a overhand swing, right?
Okay.
B button, A button, X button are empty. Go find a rune you want to put.
Okay.
in.
So what this is Path of Exile's fucking action thing, but assigned to a move set instead of just raw statistics.
Okay, but
because Path of Exile has that materia system for its weapons.
Yeah.
But it's like unlocks a move and then all the fucking supplemental additional statistics onto that move, whereas this one is each button is a different move.
But it's also what you described, because each of those 4 buttons on the face are, so you have your weapon, right? Again, great sword. You have your basic great sword sequence combo, and your roll attack, your running attack, etc. Right? Running combo. You have a parry, and if it's one-handed, you can have a shield out. If it's two-handed, you're committed. And then you hold your special move button, your focus button, and then you can do one of those 4 abilities that you put on, right? If you pull one out, the weapon breaks. So the
whole weapon.
Yes. So whatever you put in.
Well, that's okay.
Whatever you put in is a permanent choice for what those moves are for that weapon, right? If you find a duplicate, you pull one out, the weapon breaks, and you put it into the one you love.
Okay.
So then you get your 4 moves that you have and you like or whatever. In my case, I put, for example, a giant sweeping overhead swing, a launcher thing, and then I put a healing spell into the second slot on the rune, right? Separately from that is these other slots that are, there's another 4 slots, and these are passives that are electric damage,
okay, that's a lot.
Adds healing on parries, or does extra poison damage or whatever. So you have 4 slots of passive thing on the weapon that you can customize, and 4 slots of move list to customize with, right? So you can affix whatever you want to it.
I can't wait for people to optimize all enjoyment out of this system.
So
the way they do for Path of Exile.
There's those elements to it. And you have that with your basic item that you pick up and so on. But if you then go and upgrade its rarity to make it a better weapon overall, you lose 3 of those passive upgrade slots and 2 of the move slots. So you get a bunch of other shit dropped on your weapon, and its rarity goes up and its strength goes up. But in exchange, you don't have that full move list.
Man, this sounds miserable as fuck.
It's not that bad. It is much simpler when you're kind of looking at it, but the overall feeling I get, and the reason why I didn't mind it compared to what I was describing with the say like minor tweaks in Zenless, for example, is that like these are major customizations that affect your entire move list, right?
Right.
And then
no, like there's a visible new button to hit.
Yes, it's which move do you want to do with your sword? You can do a bunch of them. So if you want to equip ashes to your Elden Ring weapon, what if you had 4 ash slots? You know? And then if you wanted it to just be elemental aspects to it, you can add that to a different set of slots essentially. And then if you want, and then like as you upgrade its rarity so that the numbers do more and whatever, then you lose the amount of ashes you can put in exchange for all those other things that happen. I'm describing it in this way, but it's actually pretty good.
I get it. Just like there's like an emotion that happens in my chest when you describe pulling items out destroys the item that makes me go. But like I understand that you have a really good gem you want to put in a direct replacement for the weapon that you just got. Right? You got the same greatsword but better. So
Exactly.
you're pulling the rare gem that you want and put it, but still.
And then those same things that I'm describing, you can also equip into like your armor if you want like your armor to be like, hey, the thing that makes my sword fire or my arrow fire, if I put it on the armor, it means that something that hits me is going to take a point of fire damage. You know? So like they're very drastic ways to affect your build and such in playing this, and you can customize pretty drastically while doing all of this independent of your stats, you know?
Okay.
So that's something that I thought was really interesting, because like if you commit to a strength build or a faith build or an int or such, it'll restrict what types of weapons you can use, certainly, and you know things will scale better if you focus on a faith-based weapon and a faith-based spell or whatever the case is. But these other separate elements I'm describing allow you to really do things with your character that are not tied to those stats necessarily. So it in the end it allows for a lot of freedom with the type of character you end up creating, which I find pretty cool, again, because it's like they affect your build in drastic ways, not minimal ways, you know?
Okay, so one of the things I was thinking about, well, one, I saw footage. I'm watching the footage as you're talking, and I saw them chop down a tree. And this is such a stupid thing to say. That's a really good chop down the tree.
You hold it
like
for each
if
chop.
You're gonna be, if you're gonna be doing like daily task type shit, the behind it actually helps a lot. The second of which is this will have co-op. I was like thinking here, like, why the fuck do they let you go to other servers? It's so fucking weird. They took co-op out for the early access release because it wasn't ready.
And because there's a community chest that lets you share items between servers, and I guess this is where the multiplayer will start.
Yeah,
to make
no,
sense.
it will have co-op multiplayer at some point, which now makes all that server shit make perfect sense.
And now another element of it that is interesting too, and I don't know if this is standard elsewhere, but here certainly it's like you have experience, you kill things, you get the XP, you level up, you put the points into the stats.
Right.
And then, but every time you kill a boss or a major story thing, challenge or so, you get an item that you take to a place, and it opens up a type of slot on your character that is either like get an extra ring slot, get an extra right hand or left hand weapon slot, get 5 extra resource slots, get 5 extra items, etc.
That sounds like V Rising. I can't remember it very well.
Is that what's going on there too?
But
yeah.
That sounds like some of those where bosses have permanent long-term upgrades associated with them.
And in this case,
wow, that is a really good tree chopping animation.
And it's all inventory, you know. It's all like, because you're like, God damn it, I'm my pockets are full and I want to carry my resources back, and I found some new ones or whatever. So the temptation to, like, at first you're like, well, yeah, I want more weapons on my character. That's the whole point. And it's like, but I keep having to drop good shit to pick up other good shit. That's annoying. Or more ring slots.
Inventory space is incredible in these types of games. Like, you can never have enough.
And then there's times where it's like, one of the first things that randomly dropped for me in my second run there was like a weak ass pair of gloves that have slow health regen on.
Oh, dude, I love health regen.
And you're like, well, I'm never gonna take these off. It's over. This slot is locked. So time,
unless you can get something else that has health regen.
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. So you're like, time to spend my upgrade getting a different slot over here because this slot's gone forever. You know.
Yeah, you should. There's a lot that you're saying
that is V Rising adjacent.
A lot like V Rising.
Gotcha. Okay.
But also like this, everything about like base building / action game like aesthetic. Like there are like 40 of those now.
Okay.
Like the difference is what type of action game you're doing other than base building. Like Sons of the Forest is like technically in that genre, even though it's about, you know, horror and nightmare shit.
Well, I mean, this one is the pretty one. That's very, very gorgeous to look at, and
the 2D, 3D
painted textures on everything. Everything is just painterly and amazing. And also, setting, story, characters, great. Very cool. Yeah. So far, so good. Everyone you talk to is fully voiced and has multiple lines of dialogue. Random people walking around town all have tons of things to say.
Do more people show up in your town as you build it up?
Yes.
Like ambient people?
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
So the old bar wench that was complaining when you got there, she's like, my useless husband got himself lost in the forest. And then you go find the husband and you're like, you brought him back. And she's like, I guess he's back. And she's like, whatever. Like they like,
I hate my husband. Why'd you keep bringing him back?
Exactly. And then you upgrade their inn, and now a bunch of new NPCs are around town that go to the inn or stuff and whatever. Like someone from the intro of the game came back once that inn popped up, and then as you upgrade the inn more and more levels, I assume there will be more, you know, characters to talk to and things going on as well. And just in terms of like setting up the whole who you are, what's happening. There's a bunch of just fucking characters, just incredible people right away. There's shitty Joffrey type motherfuckers.
That's quite a claim right off the bat.
Like royal assholes that establish themselves right away. You've got Mouth of Sauron style cultists with their whisper line delivery. You've got a whole bunch of just characters all doing it, and they look great, they sound great, the voice acting is fantastic. People simping hard in the chat for the Zealot mommy, exactly. Nothing in terms of visuals, artistic story elements, etc. to say except great stuff there.
$2 in early access. Oh,
how much?
$52.
Canadian, yeah, okay,
yeah. Oh, that is for real.
Okay, well, it's a full ass game, I guess. I don't know what the limit on how close I am to the wall of content is, but I've noticed that after it's been about maybe 15 or so hours or so, I think. After each like major chapter section, the world resets and the difficulty increases. I'm at a new challenge where it's like everything in the new story quest area is annihilating me in 2 swings, and I'm barely doing anything to them.
Yeah, if this follows the type of general feeling as like a Valheim or V Rising or whatever, the new like divisions will be like a completely new game. Like start the fuck over in terms of your whole progression.
So
like you're already back to being a little baby.
Right. Like, so, I mean, what you so by opening up I made a home file versus the stream file or server or whatever, and then like was able to just blast through, obviously, with the stronger character initially and catch back up. But once you hit that wall, then it's like, okay, time to go chop some trees, build some resources, upgrade the town.
Chill the fuck out.
And when I upgrade the town, that means the blacksmith can make my weapons better, and by making my weapons better, I can go to the magic lady who can infuse them and make my moves better. And when I have more moves and better shit and all that, now go tackle that super hard area and see how you do.
It is fascinating that the amount of games we're playing now that are built around capital G gamers need to do it right the fuck now.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like we talked about Zenless, we talked about this, and both of them have enormous amounts of systems that are just like, why don't you just chill the fuck out? Why don't you just fucking just put it down for the day?
Go relax. Yeah. So there's a bonus. Okay.
And people go, no.
Okay. So besides the timer clock, there is there's beds. That when you make the inn, you can go lay down in a bed, or if you buy a house, you can make a bed. Lying down in the bed, it's like time passes or whatever, but your character just sits there, and then it's like if you log out of the game now and 4 hours pass, when you log back in, you will have buffs for sleeping.
That's great.
So just make sure to go quit while in a bed. And when you come back next session, you'll have shit, right? Rest XP, is that the deal? Yeah, okay. So
that's rested XP.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. So it's got that in this, again, so far single player context.
Rested XP. I don't know if you're familiar with the history behind it, but it's so fucking funny the way that the mechanics on the original batch of Rested XP happened.
I think you described this like many episodes ago.
But like, so World of Warcraft invented Rested XP, and the very first time they did it, they said, "Hey, when you're rested, when you're logged off, you'll accrue a little bonus XP." And what happened was that while you're rested, you get 100% XP for everything. And then as the time goes on and you grind too hard, you get down to 75, then you get down to 50%. Mm-hmm. And it was like one of the most wildly hated fucking unpopular things ever.
How dare you kill my grind?
It was so intensely reviled. Dare you. And then they went into the fucking numbers and they changed it that when you were rested, you got 200% XP.
There you go.
Wink.
There you go.
And then you would fall all the way down to 100, and they changed 50. Just enough of the numbers to make it look like you were actually getting it, but it was still slower than it was before.
And like, so the amount of experience didn't double. The number it told you were getting.
It doubled compared to what it would be when you're not rested. So like FF14 has rested XP, and so if you have a character that's higher level than yours, that's high enough level, and you're low enough level, and you have buffs on your thing, and you have rested XP, when you kill something, you'll get like a pop up that's like the XP amount, and it'll go like plus 283% XP, and you go, wow. I'm really making a lot of progress.
Oh my god.
And then you eventually run out of those and you're down to 0% bonus and you're like, oh, well, I should stop for the day because it's just not worth it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you show the real numbers, which like in this case, you can go on and show damage, show stats, show poise, etc. Then you can see the real number of like that thing you killed that was 50 XP is now going to give you 75 or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But anyway,
well, that's how people figured out that the whole thing was fucked right off the immediately. Like, despite the fact that everyone knew it was fucked and it was a trick, within like a week, it still worked because the number looked nice when I hit the psychology of looking at it is so much stronger than the psychology of knowing it.
Okay. Yeah, and so the last thing I hit was an area after a bunch of story shit popped off. Is an area that is essentially like a chalice dungeon of sorts, where it's like you have to spend a consumable for an attempt at this super hard zone, and if you fail,
Oh yeah. That's always fun as fuck.
if you fail, you get kicked out and have to go get another consumable. And I mean, I stacked up a bunch, so I have like 30 or 40 attempts on me. But
fucking forget losing progress. How about losing ingress? Like,
and then yeah, go farm the world for keys to attempt this type of dungeon again. You know. So I don't know how bad that's gonna get. Hopefully that isn't as annoying as it seems like it could be. But right now I have like 40 or so attempts, so it seems fine. If I'm ever grinding for that, then fuck that. But yeah, early access. A lot of the shit it's doing is very cool. Combat, once I got the hang of it, I do like what it's doing. The parry window is a little sussy, but that's mainly because your camera is overhead and not like sussy wussy. Indeed.
fuck. Oh.
The parry window is sussy because it is.
Jesus.
Because when the camera's not behind your shoulder and a tracking overhead is coming down on you, if you press it too early before the point of the actual weapon, it's not going to work. But like sometimes the camera obfuscates your visibility in those cases. Fighting a boss from 11 or 10 o'clock is a bad idea because you can't see what it's doing while it's blocking you off.
I have a silly question because you described it as a parrying mechanic. Is the parrying mechanic in this game hit it as it touches you or before it touches you? Because games deciding that it's one or the other causes me no end of consternation when I'm like, I'm hitting it as it makes impact. Oh, is that too slow?
Yeah. In this case, it is on the moment that the damage, noise, and impact would have popped.
Okay.
So
see, I find that a lot easier to actually internalize.
Yes, because you're used to when when an enemy rolls up to you and goes right. Yeah. That's the rhythm of its sequence. Or if it does like a big charge and goes you know, like you have that rhythm of getting hit. You internalize and then eventually are able to time the moment of impact correctly. You do that. This applies to also all the character action games we love. Parry timing should be the moment the frame you're getting hit, not early on.
Elden Ring's new just defend mechanic is like that. Is like, are you blocking in the instant that you would have been going through a damage fucking phase, like a damage reaction.
Now, if it's an attack with a guard point, we can give it a range of time, and that's okay. You know, if there's like a hit me now for this window of time, and then I'm going to do something else, then you know that's fine. But if it's for parry purposes, on the moment, you know, and in this case, you do it. Poise breaks, enemy drops, do your thing. So anyway, pretty cool. Especially after that first hump. I think the episodes going up, you see me kind of get used to it and stuff, and then I enjoyed it a lot more afterwards. I mean that's the full price. I guess it's a $40 game in America. That the early access is the full price of the game that it's going to be on release, I suppose, and they're going to build it out from there. I'm going into this also knowing that, you know, likely going to lose all this progress and saves and stuff, but
you're going to want to start over for sure. Like I'm like these types of games that are like long-term meta progression of an environment, like they at various points during early access, they'll probably just wipe your progress straight out.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting that in this case, and I know the deal, but you know, while it's annoying for things like your Animal Crossing fucking Pal Worlds base building stuff, the skill for that I'm learning in combat is staying with me. So I'm happy to just be like, okay, well, at least I can still fight competently, and that experience will carry over. You know, so it's definitely worth a gander. And I knew this, but I also just feel dumb. I'm like, yeah, I always wanted to get around to the Ori games and never did. Just visually.
I really strongly disliked the first Ori.
Okay.
Like a lot. There was something about there was something about the movement and the double jump that just fucking drove me crazy. Just not non-specific general game feel.
Okay.
The second one felt way better.
Okay.
Like way better.
Well, like I said, this is fucking isometric sword and board, you know, and when you roll and swing, you roll half the screen and then your swing takes the other half of the screen. So much fucking horizontal movement.
This looks like the type of game. This looks like the perfect type of there's only 2 times to get in, which is when they reactivate the co-op or 1.0. Because I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, that looks great. And it looks like the kind of thing that will dramatically improve on the way to 1.0.
Yeah. What's there for now, though, is a lot of fun. And I do like the ability to, again, put like 4 weapon arts or ashes into a weapon and like be like this. Or when you pick up a boss weapon that drops, for example, like a special greatsword that one of the first boss drops, it has like 4. It has a stinger on it, a buff, a scream, ground spikes, and then you know what I mean. Like it's got like 4 really good moves on it right off the bat, and I like move list modification and how that plays into your gameplay as well.
I'm way more interested in this than I was in either of the Ori games.
Yeah, consider.
I'm glad they're putting their art style towards a type of game that I'm much more interested in.
Sure, and the one that can make a lot more money.
Yeah,
you know, over time as it goes. So that's No Rest for the Wicked. Pretty good so far. Just keeping in mind the early access foibles.